Welcome to Captive Audience. It is Wonderful Wednesday. Don and I are here. My faithful co host, Don. Thank you so much, Don. It's great to see you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here as always. It's a fun place to be on Wonderful Wednesday. Where else would I be?
Well, I don't know. I could know.
Where else
No,
should
we're right here. That's where we are
I be?
on
Yeah.
Wednesdays. Well, we hope everybody has voted. I voted. You voted, Don?
Yes, ma'am.
Okie dokie. Well, I'll tell you, there's been some great results coming out of the primary. I'm just going to start it off that the worst result is the actual voter turnout in our state. Being about like 29%. Yeah, 29% voter turnout as of 6 o'clock tonight, right now, 29.05%. And primaries are generally poor turnouts. I have not looked back to see what it was in
Mhm.
2020, but I know here in Oregon, despite the mail in ballot and the ease that you can go turn a ballot in, the primary is awful. And so now we've only got preliminary results, of course, and it won't be for another 21 days that the election will get certified, and we're going to accept ballots by mail. Um, accept ballots by mail for another 7 days. So, and so I'll tell you, Lori, has Oregon lost all faith? That is a good question. And, I was talking with somebody today who won their primary, and he said, it's amazing how many people didn't vote. But the primary is always bad. It just is always
But
bad. And
I'll
there's no reason the dang thing comes in the mail. All you have to do is fill it out, pay a little bit of attention, talk to your friends, family, and neighbors, get
Mhm.
some advice, and then drop it in a drop box. Never mail it. So
I'm
I
gonna,
don't
yeah, I'm gonna take the alternative view on the whole. Is a low voting turnout bad? I sort of think it's good because the dumbest among us are the ones who are least likely to vote. The less they vote, the better off we are. People who aren't engaged don't vote. That's a great thing. I mean, I sort of think that one of the huge benefits of not having mail-in ballot is those who are least interested, least likely to have any knowledge of the issues, are the least likely to walk their fannies down to the local public school and fill out the thing. Now, if you're too lazy to do that, and now you're too lazy to mail one in, hey, 25% might be great if it's the right 25%.
know. Well, you got a point there. You got a point there. And so Portland has a great result. The best one is that Mike Schmidt got fired. The DA of Portland has gotten fired from his job. And, this is the guy who was not going to, he wasn't going to prosecute Antifa, anybody, or BLM, for the riots, the burning, the looting, all of the destruction, millions and millions of dollars of destruction and crime. And so he's been fired, and I think that is so good.
That's huge. But it goes to show you, even in arguably the most insane big city in the United States, the insane left has eliminated one of the worst DAs in the country is a great thing. Now, my understanding is that the candidate that replaced him is someone who declared himself independent. I guess he was Republican once upon a time, but being a Republican apparently is toxic in Portland, so you can't call yourself that. But the people of Portland got punished so much by this guy's policies that they finally responded to it. Logic and common sense they won't respond to. Once the crime hits your front door, maybe that's what it takes. And I sort of thought that might be the case. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I got some noise happening. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
I
don't
heard.
know where it's
No, I heard that too. That's interesting.
coming from. In a link here that I opened up or something. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And then we isn't that crazy? So I posted a link to the story there about Mike Schmidt getting fired, and that's a good day. That's a
Mhm,
great day in Portland.
mhm,
It's couldn't happen to a nicer guy, quite
yeah.
frankly. And then another great win is has to do with Monique Despain,
Mhm,
because that was a very, very competitive race. And so here is an article I will post, and it's Air Force veteran uh, to take on the incumbent Democrat competitive or in the competitive Oregon House race in the 4th District. And so Monique Despain will be going against the incumbent Democrat Val Hoyle. Now, the good news here is that one, Monique Despain won her primary, and secondly, Val Hoyle is still under investigation. She is under investigation for the marijuana donations she got, and she did never wanted to turn in during the investigation. She did not want to turn in any of her cell phone records and email records that were subpoenaed and asked for. She just ignored it. So she is lawless. And I'll tell you, we need a good person, like Monique, who is a retired Air Force, I believe it's a colonel,
mhm,
and we need somebody with those types of, yes, she's an attorney and a former Air Force colonel,
mhm.
to take on the crooked Democrat Val Hoyle. And so I am so really excited that Monique ran. And, I some might not like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There was a perennial candidate that ran for the very same district, Amy Ryan Corser. I think she's a nice person. I have met her. I think she's a nice person. But when we have good, strong candidates running, other people should bow out, so that there isn't so much of a race in the primary. We need to look out for our party and our state better versus our own self interest. And to your point, Bobby, I can't believe Michael Cross got as many votes as he did. I couldn't either. And in looking at the different counties, Wallowa County was the only smart county. It was only 10% that voted for Michael Cross. And, yeah, Betsy Johnson, yeah, but this unfortunately is politics. They
Mhm.
want to get the donations, they want to split a vote. That's what Michael Cross is hoping to do, and get it in both. Getting donations, steal a little bit of voting there, but there was only two of them. And it's so anyway, I just people we need ethical candidates that will run and do what's best for our state, not themselves and their own pocketbook. I'll say that.
Mhm.
But we did get some really good results. Donald Trump won almost 92% of the Republican vote. And I've got a little statistic here. Marion County, Marion County Republicans, my hat is off to you. They voted 100% for Donald. 100%.
That's amazing. I mean, when in history has that ever happened? And then when you look at what they're doing to this guy, I know this is not the focus of our discussion today, but to to be polling the way he is, with every major media chain going after you the way they are, with a judicial system that is completely immoral in terms of what they're doing. It's amazing. It is really amazing.
Yeah, it is. And so I wrote down a few things. We had Marion County voted 100% for Trump, and the next highest county is Lake County. They were at 97.4041. And then four counties, Benton, Hood River, Multnomah, and Washington, those Republicans were under 90%. Those were the four counties that were in the 80 percentile range. Otherwise, everywhere else, they were all above 90%. But when I looked at that, I just went, Marion County, you guys kicked butt, you know? That's how to be. No write-ins, no Mickey Mouse, they just got it. And I just think that's so good. I mean, I know Joel Pulowski there is the chair of Marion County, and I'm not kidding. That is fabulous. And Lake County as well. And Morrow County those are the top three counties that voted the highest percentages for Trump. And Morrow is just right next door to Umatilla County. And I just thought it was really good. Another interesting race is the Lori Chavez DeRemer's race, because Janelle Bynum won the primary there, on the Democrat side, okay, and so she won the primary, and beating out Jamie McLeod Skinner, because Lori beat Jamie McLeod Skinner, which I was kind of surprised. Not that she beat her, but that last time it was only by 2 points. So I thought that the Democrats might want to run Jamie again, although I don't think she's a very good candidate. But they've got a lot of money, and this is in the 5th district, the Democrats, and they really pumped the money to Janelle Bynum. So Lori is going to that's going to be a race to absolutely pay attention to, and help Lori win and maintain that seat. We don't want to lose it. So as I see it, the 4th and the 5th district are going to need a lot of help and a lot of work. And if we can I say as Republicans, anything that we can do to be it knock doors or make phone calls for a candidate in another county, in another district that we're not in. Like in CD2, Cliff Bentz has it. And we had Jason Beebe. That's kind of another one who never should have ran. And I knew that he didn't have a chance in heck of winning at all. But, he fleeced some people for donations. And so we need to, donate to the people like Cliff Bentz. I'm not saying don't donate to Cliff Bentz, but he's got a safe district. He's going to win CD2. And but we need to hold Laurie Chavez DeRemer, and we need to pick up number 4 with Monique. That, those are the things that help win the House back, right? Every seat you win the House, and we need to pick up here in Oregon. That would be awesome. It just when when Lori Chavez DeRemer won, that was the first time in like 30 years that we had 2 congressmen in the House that were Republican. Okay.
Yeah.
And if we can put a third one there, I'm telling you, that is really good. Really, really good. So I just wanted to talk a little about that.
Well, it's not like there's a shortage of issues to run on.
No, no. I mean, look at what happened here. And then we've got going to state races. Let me see if there's anything else on that to really point out, because congratulate Mike Erickson winning his primary, Joanna Harbor winning her primary, but that's a real tough district, District 3. When the Democrats are, 3-1, to Republicans. But you know what? There's still people out there that are getting their name out there and running and providing some fodder, make the Democrats work for it a little bit, as you might say.
Right,
So
right.
not, and that I think is a good thing.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and let's see what else. What else is there? Um, Secretary of State Dennis Linthicum won the primary, so now, we can. This is in a presidential election. It's very difficult because the Democrats are going to be turning out to vote, right? But if we could get Dennis Linthicum, it can be done. We had Dennis Richardson, and if we could get him across the board for Secretary of State, would be awesome. And Brian Boquist, I'll tell you what, he got 98.88% of the Republican vote. That is very, very good.
Yeah.
So, if and I'm sorry that Jeff Goodman. Now, this is a Democrat, Jeff Goodman, but I'm sorry he didn't win the Democrat primary
Mhm.
because I personally feel had it been Boquist and Jeff Goodman, we would have been good in either hands. Um, but it's not. Elizabeth Steiner won the Democrat, and so it's going to be a fight, and we need to help Brian Boquist win our state treasurer. And fabulous news, of course, is Will Lathrop. He won. I had no doubt he would win against Michael Cross, the crook Michael Cross. Um, but I was shocked, just like Bobby, you are. Michael Cross got 35%. So this is just a person who was out there, ripping people off for donations for a position he will never win. The man is unelectable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this goes to my earlier point about low voter turnout isn't always bad.
Right,
Right?
right, right.
As long as the right people stay home.
Yes. And so Will Lathrop had a great, just over 64% of the vote. And so we've got some great candidates that we could, to fight for, to donate for, to volunteer for. And I think all the counties at this point, I think all the county chairs, for any of you that watch this, we need to get right now our counties to adopt a slate of endorsements across our state, because all of the events that are coming up, we as Republicans can turn those out. And that's something that we do here in Umatilla County. Say, hey, put this, print it on something bright paper, half a sheet, put this on your fridge for the general election, and we will start handing those out at events, because people want to know.
Mhm.
They want to know. And then, of course, we're going to have ballot measures, which some of that we don't have. At least I don't. Some of that information that's going to be super important, like that ranked choice voting. We want to
That's
shut that
just
one down.
what a horrible idea. Well, I mean, it's not horrible if you're trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to obfuscate and confuse. But
Yes.
what a terrible, what a terrible device. Let's put it that way.
Yes, absolutely. So, and Tobias Reed, Secretary of State, he got 70% of the vote, and there was five candidates. Now we're talking on the Democrat side,
Mhm.
five candidates running there. And so it's, hey, that's what you do, right? I guess they go and whole pile of you pile on. And state senator David Brock Smith won the primary for his first district. And the Democrats didn't have anybody filed for that. And Paul J. Romero, he's another one that is like a perennial candidate. he only got 8.5% of the vote, and he runs like every election. You'll see his name on a ballot somewhere, and I think, you know, I think it's just good to talk about that there are perennial candidates, and you just don't throw your vote away on them. And so David Brock Smith won his first district. Noel Robinson won the primary for the second district, which would be replacing his father.
Mhm.
And Dick Anderson won for the fifth district, Republican. And Senator Gerard won for ninth district. Thank goodness. And you know what? His in the Democrats, no candidate filed, and they had 83 people did a write-in. 100% did write-ins in that, and on the Democrat side. In fact, on another one, I saw that. Let me look up. Oh yeah, on the first one, 100% did a write-in on the first district
Mhm.
of 585 people. Tried to write somebody in. Well, they have somebody, and let's see. Bruce Starr won his district, the 12th district. Senator, or he's anyway. Starr won. 14th district. Shane Bolton won his primary.
Mhm.
And we didn't have a Republican in the 21st district, probably because it's a very blue district. I don't know where all the districts are. And we had here in my area, we had in District 29, which is my area, the Democrats didn't have a candidate. They did 100% write in with a 507. And actually, that could be a Republican's name now that I'm thinking about that, because Todd Nash, it was a four-way race, and Todd Nash overwhelmingly won the primary with 53, just over 53% of the vote. And second was Jim Doherty. Drotzman was in third, a near third. And Huey just got less than 2% of the vote. He's a nice young man. He might very well have a future in politics. And, so Todd Nash won the primary, and that's who we're in a pretty, I think the write-ins on the Democrats there, he had, Oregon Right to Life was a endorser of Todd Nash, and they actually solicited on for him to be write-in on a Democrat ticket. And the reason is he will, since no candidate filed, come the general election, he will be on the Democrat ticket.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, so it's an odd strategy, but it does work. So I think when you see those write-ins in a strong Republican district, then you're going to see the write-in candidate doing the same thing. And that could be, what that is, that it's just a handful of people that has done that. And, there's another race. I was looking at the district attorneys, and there was one one attorney, I don't have the name, that the incumbent lost. And anytime an incumbent attorney loses because they're George Soros attorneys, or they are appointed by a Democrat governor, not necessarily district attorneys, but I think it can be a very good thing.
Well, for them to
In
lose,
fact,
something significant had to have happened.
right,
That's just
exactly. And
yeah.
and so here's one, and this is Jared Boyd beat the incumbent Wes Williams, and this was in. So I don't know, I don't know anything about either one of them.
Mhm.
This was Judge of the Circuit Court, 10th District, Position 2. The incumbent was Wes Williams. And so And I don't know if Wes was appointed by a Democrat governor or just what. And I hope Jared Boyd is not a Soros attorney in their pocket, because we do have them here. Wasco
Mhm,
County has one,
mhm.
and Schmidt just got fired. He's a George Soros attorney, and it's just good to get him gone, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else in that. No, no. There was an article here that is from Politico about progressives flop in Oregon. 5 takeaways from Tuesday's primary. And one of them has to do with, I'm going to post that article here. One of them had to do with if in the districts that are real blue, like we had Jayapal's sister running.
Mhm,
Okay, and so State Representative Maxine Dexter beat the former County Commissioner Shashila Jayapal, and the Democrat this was an open seated primary to replace Earl Blumenauer.
mhm,
And a lot of people were cringing at Jayapal if she would win,
mhm,
because her sister is in already over there, in DC, and we don't want and is part of the squad bunch, and we don't need another one of those. So I I hope that Maxine Dexter is I'm I hope she's not as left
mhm.
and radical left.
Well, the one good thing about the punishment these people have inflicted upon the state and the country in the last 2 years is that, you know, we're not running against theory anymore. So whoever that Republican is that's running against them, you're running against what actually happened. Here's what they did. So it's not theoretical. This is what they did, and this was the result. And it's pretty hard to hide from that. I think, even with the media lying like they are, about things like inflation, interest rates, crime. You can ask yourself, am I afraid to go to downtown Portland at night more than I was 5 years ago? Yep. Um, am I paying like 3 times more for groceries than I was like 4 years ago? Yep.
Yeah.
Is the interest rate a lot higher? Yep. Is it harder for my kid to buy their first house? Yep. Are apartments affordable? Yep. And
Yeah.
what's different in the last 4 years? Oh, that. So it's going to be awfully hard to lie their ways out of that. I mean, and there's that bottom 30% of the population that you'll never be able to persuade because they are truly retarded, is the only word I could think of. But for the rest of the population that feel, even the ones who don't want to think, you feel what they've done. And the logical thing is maybe let's try something different.
Yeah, definitely. That you can only beat people up so long, right? And before they'll make a change. And so that's a good thing. And um so there's some that we have some wins, and the wins are good that we need to take. And but we have this was the primary. Now we got to get them across the line in the general election, to help improve our state and our nation. It's absolutely.
It's going to be
ab-
really interesting to see what they poll like compared to the Democratic counterparts in the next couple of months. I'm just really curious, especially in Oregon. I mean, okay, how we feeling now about that stuff?
yeah. Oh, Christine Drazen. Actually, she did beat. I'm seeing Marjorie, your oh, and Linthicum's wife. Let me go back. I didn't take a let me take a look at that, because I still have those up here. Um, I believe I had seen that Linthicum's wife won. Let's see. Alex Scarlatos won in his district, 4th district, his primary. So now he's running for state representative. And, oh, wow. Sandra Abercrombie. I'll be darned. I didn't know she was running. Well, anyway, Catherine Green won. I'm looking very quickly here to see about the Republicans. Boomer Wright won. Let me go. Darren Harbick won his 12th district. Shelley Beauchart Davis won re-election. Ed Dial won re-election. Rick Lewis, David Brown, Kevin Chambers. He'll have a runoff. He just won the primary in the 20th district, and I don't know how that is. Kevin Mannix, of course, won. He was the only one, but he'll have a runoff as well. And he is a seated representative in the 21st district, so hopefully he holds on to that. Anna Scharf won. Lucetta Elmer, I don't know who that is. I'm scrolling. There's a whole lot, of these, so bear with me. Oh, well, now I got to get to the next batch. That was half of them. Darcy Edwards in the 31st district. I don't know if she's there already or not. The 33rd district. Wow, it's Stan Baumhofer who won the Republican primary, and I do mean barely. He won the Republican, and so, but I think that's pretty blue district, judging by looking at the voter turnout. Actually, I would say that was pretty blue district. I'm trying to get there, kids. Ben Edel won his primary, and he's in a pretty blue district over there. He's trying to build a name for himself. Let's see. Michael Newgard won the primary in the 40th district. I'm still looking. I got the whole darn list here. John Masterson won the primary in the 48th. Christine Drazen won just over 69% against James Hebe, and I'll tell you, I like James, and I'm sorry that he's now been unseated by Christine Drazen, but I just am sorry that he's unseated because I think we lost a good guy. But I do know that Christine has, of course, a lot of experience. But I don't know that we always need to have the same people at the helm,
Right.
Just my opinion. Jeff Helfrich, I'm still looking for. E. Wernereshki, of course, won his very handily. Greg Smith won his, I'm sad to say. I was wishing Raymond Akers would do a little better, but maybe next time. And Greg Smith has a lot of industry behind him, though. But thankfully, his candidate didn't win when it came to the Senate district. Vicky Breeze Iverson won re-election, and I went through them all there, so I missed somebody, but I know Senate. I'm looking at the Senate is that's where we would find Diane Linthicum, and I'm sure that she ran. I'm looking. Yes, Diane won 59% over Dave Hensley. So here you have the wife following the husband into the same seat. And some might.
Yeah. Raise an eyebrow. Yeah.
Some might think that's good. I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know. I know Diane. I know Dennis, but I'm not for one that we've got to pass the legacy on.
mhm.
Truthfully,
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm for that. I want the best person to win, not just getting your name out there.
Mhm.
And I don't know about Vance with the write-in because I know he was a walkout, Lori. But Vance, they don't show the write-ins, what the write-ins are yet, and yeah. But we get to still hold that family accountable. They'll be, Diane will be in that Senate seat now.
Yeah.
It's okay. I know he walked out. Dennis walked out, and my senator walked out, but he was already retiring, so he wasn't hurt. And there's going to be a large vacuum in the Senate from those people that were not able to run again.
Mhm.
Don ran across an interesting article, and it was in on Fox News. I'm going to post this, and it is poisoning pregnant women with abortion-inducing drugs could soon be a felony under a red state bill.
Yeah, it's
And
it's pretty amazing.
it is amazing. And when I read it, I'm going, what? But how would you like to be married to somebody? You're pregnant, and your husband, this bill is named after a woman whose husband slipped an abortion drug into her drinks without her knowledge. How would you like to be in that position? Married to that one?
Yeah, and I'm like, how is it even legal to acquire such a pill or drug without the physicians? I don't know.
I think, well, I don't know. That part I don't know. They do give out, I think, the like morning after pill, but
Yeah,
that's a little bit different. The morning after pill is a little bit different from you're pregnant, and I don't know how pregnant she was. Did you? Do
right.
you?
No, I don't. I saw the article. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, you would think it'd be murder. Well, I guess it depends on the nature of the state. Boppy, if the state thinks a baby's a person, there are some states like Oregon that don't think that, but some
Yeah.
do.
And
Um,
this is in Louisiana. So
mhm,
the GOP controlled Louisiana House advanced a bill yesterday evening that criminalizes abortion coerced by means of fraud, and
mhm,
also makes it illegal to possess two abortion drugs without a valid prescription. And they passed that bill, the House did, 64 to 29, and now it's going to go to the Senate. And they put some hefty fines and also years in prison I mean, for somebody who preys on an unsuspecting pregnant mother without her knowledge or consent. I mean, golly, could you imagine?
yeah, it's low on
I
multiple.
can't imagine, I mean, from your husband, somebody you think you trust,
But you
and
ask
that
yourself,
happening too.
could such a bill pass in a place like Oregon or Washington? I mean,
No.
it's a direct, yes, a direct reflection of the morality of the at a minimum the legislators, not to mention the citizens. But so that's good in that at least out there are states still where people have some basic morality.
Yeah. And sad to say, I don't even know if our Republicans would pass it because here in Oregon. And I say that meaningly because when we were at our platform convention,
Hmm.
they did not like that we were putting in language about abortion. We even had somebody, I think it was David Brock Smith, who
Hmm.
stood up and said, "We would like for you to not have anything in the platform about abortion." You know, going, what?
So
Well,
what do you think is
what part of Republican are you? And then the argument, if I remember correctly, was, well, for those of us that are kind of in pink districts, we're
Mhm.
not in a real solid, or we're a little more blue district, but we can win election if that wasn't in there. And I'm going, you know what? You gotta stand up for what's right. That's where I'm at, but that's not everybody apparently.
Well, I think this is a problem. When you start trying to soft shoe and be lukewarm, that's when you get roasted. It's better to be one or the other, right? I mean, lukewarm is not going to cut it. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Republican Party has gotten beaten up so much, since they're filled with, well, that's a classic definition of a rhino. Always trying to like make everybody happy. You're not going to make everybody happy. So
No.
make the right people happy. Do the right thing.
Make yourself happy and live for your morals and your ethics and your morals and your convictions. This is how Dennis Linthicum
Mhm.
won a statewide election. He's because it was, oh, you're, pro life. And he said, yes, I'm unabashedly pro life, but I'm going to represent everybody and I'm going to follow the laws on the books.
Mhm. Yeah, just yeah,
And you cannot argue with somebody. That takes all argument away if you are willing to stand up and say something like that instead of
yeah,
be wishy washy, whichever way the wind's going to blow you for whichever audience is speaking to you.
yeah.
Take your stand, own it, and
And your position's correct.
yeah,
Just make the statement. If people don't like it, they don't like it. But explain your rationale for why, and more people will respect you. The ones who aren't going to like you, we're never going to vote for you in the first place. It's this desire to be liked by the right people is what it is at the end of the day, and it's the media types. They don't like you. They just don't like you.
yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely true. And I have one more story. Kevin posted, thank you, Kevin, very much earlier today in our Slack channel, and it had to do with Biden. It's from the RNC. They've got the RNC has a whole. They're looking out for different stories and whatnot. In fact, today, did you hear the RNC? Somebody mailed them vials of blood that were received at the RNC, and the place was shut down, evacuated.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, and then it was opened up. So I don't know the outcome, except for I do know that it was all opened up. Well,
Mhm.
in this article that I just posted, it says, so Biden can take executive action? Question mark.
Mhm.
Because Biden is apparently considering major new executive action to finally address the unprecedented border crisis happening on his watch. And it says, what changed? Well, I'll tell you what changed. All
Only.
he undid every thing that Trump had in place.
Mhm.
That is what changed. He signed so many executive orders, and with a stroke of a pen, he can do it again.
Mhm.
And in fact, Biden took 94 executive actions in his first 100 days to dismantle border security, then implemented an illegal catch and release scheme that has allowed millions of unvetted illegal immigrants to be resettled in U.S. communities. Then he threw up his hands, says, oh, I
Mhm.
can't do anything. You've got to give me more power. No, 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 no. He doesn't need more power. He has all the power he needs. We have the laws on the books.
Yeah, I think they're getting cooked in their own pudding is what's happening now. I mean, it's like the states that they hurt the most were the ones where the constituencies were the greatest. You take these inner city neighborhoods; they were the ones that got hurt the most by these policies. That's where they relocated all these illegal immigrants. That's where the crime has gone through the roof. That's where they've gotten rid of the police. That's who hurt most by inflation. That's who now has the grocery stores in their neighborhoods closing down because they won't enforce the law and the
Yeah,
stores can't stay open. I mean, they always destroy the the working class and the lower middle classes the most, the very ones that they purport to help. But now it's so blatantly obvious. I think finally, for the first time since the Great Depression, the people are finally actually realizing that's not the party of the working class anymore. It hasn't been for 40 years,
no.
but they just keep voting for them because it's like a reflexive, automatic thing to do. But I think they finally killed it.
Well, more. Yeah, I think so, and I hope so. That people are seeing what's going on. How can you not? I mean, look at the persecutions and the prosecutions of what's happening to Trump. And that is waking up more and more people. I loved it that he was in New Jersey. I think it was New Jersey having a rally, and it's like 100,000 people showed up at that thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's a rock star, and
He
yeah, when a politician can come out and demand that, and when Biden goes out, you got 30 or 40 people showing up, right?
No,
And most
no,
of those
he's got to pay people to come to his events.
right, right, yeah, it's like it's like unbelievable. There's no energy on that side. And here's the other, and I meant to mention this earlier. This is a great time for Republicans down ticket to run because there's no energy on the other side for the top of the ticket. So on the Republican side, this ought to be going back to the voter turnout thing, the right kind of turnout. The rest of the tickets should benefit down
Yeah,
ticket. That's
absolutely. Absolutely.
so
And
this is an opportunity for a historic year. And the thing is, historic in the terms of it lasting decades of historic. Because Democrats have proven they're not the party of the working class. I think they finally get it. For decades, the Republicans had this reputation to be the party of the rich, the party of big business. Clearly, they haven't been that for the last 10, 20 years, at least.
yes. Yes, yeah, absolutely. We've got to. I think the Democrats are going to take a beating for the things that they have implemented on America, and there's more truth coming out. There's so many truths coming out as far as like because of COVID investigations, the unsealing of documents of January 6th, the videos that come out. Look at the unsealing of the redactions. The judge in the Florida case,
Mhm.
Cannon, I think is her name. She said she made the documents to be unredacted, and now you read that Merrick Garland authorized a this search using lethal methods if they needed to, and yet they were going in. They did not notify the Secret Service. They have armed people there. What were they hoping something would happen?
I think the
When
answer
you
to that
have
is
the DOJ or the FBI going into against the Secret Service?
I think the answer to that is yes.
I do too. I do
Yeah,
too.
it's
And
They
but
they've proven they will stop at nothing. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago,
absolutely.
I kept thinking, "Oh, they're not crazy enough to do this. Oh, they're not crazy enough to do that." They've done every one of those things I thought that no one would ever be crazy enough to do.
I know it.
So
I
they'll do
know it.
anything to take, and the attack is not on Trump. The attack's on the foundational principles of the United States. The attack's on all of us. That's what the attack's on.
Hey, I've ran into another story here, and it's from Oregon Watchdog, and it's talking about, let me post it here. It's talking about 10 highlights from the election, some of which we've already talked about. But incumbent Charlie Conrad, he was bounced from his seat.
Uh-huh.
And so he lost by over his social issues. So Darren Harbuck, who is more conservative challenger, has won, and he's leading by nearly 80% of the vote. So
Wow.
that's a good thing. Eugene voters rejected both ranked choice voting scheme
Hmm.
and a property tax to bail out a baseball team. So good for Eugene voters. Hooray, hooray.
Yeah.
And local tax revolts succeed. And I had noticed that when I was looking around, that many bond measures or measures that they wanted to improve schools and whatnot, a lot of them did not pass.
Yeah.
So voter rallied against two Hood River Park measures,
Mhm.
against a pair of $70 million parks recreation spending spree
Mhm.
of property taxes. In Bend, a whopping $1 for every 1,000 property tax bond that would have cost many homeowners $700 or more failed.
Mhm.
And the Taxpayer Association of Oregon thankfully put out a lot of information. They do a mailer. We recommend vote no, vote no, vote no, on these things. Um, and in Crook County voted to join the plan to join the Greater Idaho Project.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you, we still don't have that here in Umatilla County. It's crazy. Every county surrounding us is all past it, but we don't have anybody that's getting signatures for it.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of presentations in our county, and but nobody has taken up that fight. And it is, I'll tell you, it is interesting because in talking to some of our PCPs at the very first time that I had heard about that, that was a couple years ago, that came to our county. Um, they had they had people said, you know what, we're going to fight for our state. So, no, I'm not interested in signing that. And I remember a county commissioner said, we've got to fight for our state. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to sign that bill, sign that petition. And so I think here in Umatilla County, which we're on the east side, the most populated county, I think that must be the narrative, is people want to fight for our state, but you could still sign that petition, get it passed, as because all it does, what it does, is it starts the conversation of possibly. And it's much easier to move a border than it is to create a new state.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I'm frankly, I would do it. I'm not going to do, go and start a petition, but I would sign the petition
Mhm.
if it was out there.
Well, the
So,
mere threat that it could happen is one of those things. It's like if you're going into a negotiation, you need to have some bullets in your holster. There's
yes.
another bullet in the holster. I mean, we all know they've been talking about the state of Jefferson and Southern Oregon and California for a long time. That seems much more justifiable to me because those two parts that have nothing in common with the rest of their states. But like you're saying, it's much easier to move a boundary than it is to create another state.
Yeah.
But
Yes, it is.
yeah,
It
the
is.
more that is a threat, the better. And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like you. I'm all for the threat.
Yeah, me too, because it sends a message. It does send the message. And so now here we have another county. Crook County has passed that. And so the number is growing. And anyway,
Yeah, well, it's
well,
great.
hey, that's an election roundup. I'm glad the primary is over, but we've got a general election coming up, and
Well, it's crazy to think this thing is winding down. Here we are, what, how many months away? 5 months after 3.5 years of agony. It's kind of
right.
hard to believe how much has happened in the last 3 years. You can't even believe it.
Oh, I know, and it still is. And I was watching a thing on the news, or not on the news, but on social media. I was looking at Michael Yon had actually posted a video of more Middle Eastern people coming across our border. And
Hmm.
I will tell you something that is crazy. Palestine has not been had a state. The Palestinian people have not had a state. And now three countries voted today to say, or made statements today, that Palestinians need to have a state.
Hmm. Yeah,
And yet they are terrorists. That's why nobody, the Egyptians that are right next to Israel, the nations that are right around Israel, will not open their border to them. And
yeah.
here we have Biden wanting to import these people. Makes me sick.
Well, that's the radical left because the objective is to destroy the country. What better way to destroy the country than to take away the fabric which holds us together, which is just moral principles.
Yeah.
It's the Crusades all over again. This is precisely what this is. The Ottoman Empire rises again, and you look at what it's done to the European countries where they've had this massive immigration. I mean, it's like devastating. I mean,
Yes, and
crime.
some of those countries are now voting to close their borders and say we're not doing this. I don't care we're part of the EU. We're not going to take part in this. And this is why we must have
Mhm.
Trump back as our president, because things will be reversed.
Yeah, I watched a
Those
talk.
that have entered our country like this, things will be reversed, and it has to get reversed
Like
quickly.
if you look at, and I'll send you maybe for the next time we talk. There was this talk I watched about what happened to Lebanon, which was a
Yeah.
Christian country in the Middle East, and they started behaving like the leftists ask you to, open borders, all this stuff, and a whole fleet of Muslims moved in, and everything was democratic and fine until they got more than 50% of the population, and then they started like slaughtering Christians. That's what they do, and now it's like 85% or something Muslim, and people are fleeing the place. And of course, the economy is a shambles. Everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. The people that lead the radical left, that's what they want in store for the entire West. Um, you don't want to
Yeah.
think that stuff, but it's it's very evident that that's what's going on.
Yep. Yeah, it is. So, hey, everybody. Um, Thanks for watching our program. And the primary's over, and it is Memorial Weekend coming up. And I'm going to tell you there will not be a program on Friday. Okay. There's not going to be a program on Friday. And the reason is the Oregon Republican Party is having a convention to elect the delegation to go to the national convention. And we also are having congressional district elections. It's sad that they make this on Memorial Day weekend. It's really sad. So I'm going to be traveling on that day. So have a good weekend. I'm going to take Friday off from Captive Audience. In fact, anyway, so we'll be back next week.
Bye,
So
everybody.
you might miss us Friday. See you later.